Hey guys, how's it going, and welcome back to another one of my videos. Today is actually an introduction to a brand new segment of videos that I'm going to be bringing you guys, and I am so stoked to be bringing you guys these types of videos. Now, if you go back into a history of my videos, you'll kind of see that I do a lot of technical level skill videos where, we get deep into PCV valves, EGR valves, and a lot of different hands-on get dirty type of jobs. And I wanted to bring a new segment that kind of goes away from that technical level stuff and deals a lot more with conceptual level economic market trends of various types of cars within the market. Because as we know, the car market is so volatile, right? It's always changing, and there's so many economic forces that go into this car market that always make it interesting for us observers to take a look at and kind of study it. So I'm thinking I'll bring a subject that I think is interesting, maybe a trend or something worth talking about, and I'll bring it up and give you my reason on why it's happening or what are the forces behind it that are leading to this kind of trend in the car market. And of course, I want a lot of interaction from you guys, so I expect a lot of comments. I expect each other to comment on each other's comments and, just have a really nice interaction between people. I want to hear your opinions, and I want you guys to have kind of a forum feel, but on YouTube. And I think that's great, and I think the reason why it's better on YouTube is because, again, we kind of get that face-to-face interaction, even if it's just for the question that's being proposed. So let's kind of get started. As you guys might know from the title of this video, it's about the car market. What's happened to the car market over these past 30 plus years? Now, I know a lot of car enthusiasts immediately are already saying, oh my god, it's the van market. I thought it was going to be some sports cars, but trust me, there's going to be some good topics coming up. And I promise you, if you stay and watch till the end of this video, I'm sure something's going to fascinate you, because the van market impacts so many different other markets, and as you'll see. And if you do have any suggestions on what for next videos and videos in the future should be about, leave a comment below, and if I see enough demand from it, your video just might appear. And sports cars, they will be coming up. I promise you that. So, to begin about this van market, we kind of have to go back and kind of talk about the history of vans, right? And this is such a fascinating subject to me, because in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, probably up to 2006, 5 or 6, vans were just so popular, right? I mean, almost every single American family had a van. It was like a requirement to be an American family, is you had to have like a van. And I'm sure most of us can remember from our childhood being in a van, or knowing a family member who had a van, being picked up from school in a van. And it's just such an integral part, again, in our culture. The mother drove the van, picked up the kids from school, soccer practice, and etc. And the father drove it on Sundays when you went, or Sundays when you went to church, or Saturdays to the synagogue, or Friday to the mosque. And then you went to lunch after that. It was just such an important part, right? There's so much culture attached to that, and vans were just so popular because they were great, right? They had a lot of leg room. They sat 7 people in there, and they were insanely reliable, depending on the model, of course. And again, they just provided you with that culture behind it. I can remember from my youth, especially me, because I'm an introvert. I can remember so many times going on extensive road trips in our van and just looking outside the window daydreaming, because I was so good at daydreaming, right? That was like my thing. I loved daydreaming. The van was where, the family got brought together, and it was, again, just such an important part of our childhood. And especially if you're my age or older, I'm sure you can remember, again, a family member who's had a van, or you've been a part of a family who owned a van, or maybe you had a van passed down to you during your time in high school or college. And again, in the van market, there was so much demand for it, but also there was a lot of supply for it. I mean, Toyota had two types of vans. You had the Sienna and the Previa. Honda had its infamous Odyssey. Mazda had a Mazda MPV. Chevrolet had the weird cargo vans. Ford had its Windstar. Mercedes had its van. Chrysler had its Pacifica. Dodge had its Grand Caravan. And the list just keeps going on. There was no shortage of vans that you could purchase in that era, from the 80s on to mid-2000s. But something happened, right? Something happened in that van market where people just started to shy away from buying vans, right? Maybe I like to think in 07, 8, 9, 10, I like to think that vans just started to become super unpopular. And what would be interesting would be to see sales figures for vans during that time. But at least we can agree that these just started to become really, really unpopular. Now, a lot of people like to think that the van market just up and disappeared, but that's not true, right? Because the people are still there and they need to buy a car. And I like to think that the van market didn't disintegrate, but was absorbed into the SUV market. Now, back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, the SUVs were super unpopular. They were just big SUVs that mothers hated because they were so big and they felt big, and they were just terrible. They did terrible on gas because all of them used big V8s, and they were ugly, super ugly. And so again, van was the popular choice at the time. But during the late 2000s, SUVs were just the popular choice for obvious reasons for people. You know, SUVs could house the same amount of people. We had SUVs with 7-seaters, and they had more technology in them. They were more comfortable. They were more elevated from the ground. They came in more trim levels. They came with all-wheel drive versions, and they were just better looking and made the most out of the space, and they didn't really feel that big. I mean, modern big SUVs, they don't feel that big on the road. And all of that really made them super appealing to people that were in the van market. And they were like, you know what, we're going to give this a shot. And in most cases, some of those SUVs were even cheaper than vans. And so we saw this massive shift from that van market to the SUV market. Now, another reason, and maybe this one's a little bit less of a reason on why people switched, is, you know, I think women became a little bit more independent and wanted to become modern, and they saw vans as as a constraint to help them move forward with that, and it really gave them a disservice to move forward. You know, vans were always associated with the soccer mom. You know, back in my day, you know, soccer moms were cool, but today they're just like, oh, you're a soccer mom, you do nothing all day but pick your kids up from school. You know, women these days, they have more of an incentive to be just more than a mother. They want to be a mother and work and do so many other things, and with that, they wanted to move on with the times and have a car that represents them more. And an SUV fit the bill, again, because it's just so much more modern looking, and it doesn't have that negative stigma attached to it. I think, again, that's not as big as a reason, but it's certainly a factor. Because of that, vans really just started to die down. There was just really no reason to buy a van. You were still getting the same amount of space again, and just, you know, the SUV again trumped the van market almost every single way, and there was nothing that really differentiated the van market from the SUVs. I mean, vans are SUVs with just way less options, way worse looks, and you know, it didn't really offer. There was nothing that really made the van market just different. You know, a lot of car advertisements for vans kept showing families, and they tried to remind people of, oh, remember how essential vans are in a family? But people just didn't listen anymore. And modern times called for SUVs to become now the family vehicle of choice rather than vans. So I think 2018 and the next few upcoming years is going to be a really pivotal point for the van market. I think the van market is starting to pick up again. And I think two companies are really pushing the envelope to reestablish what a van is, and they're starting to put a lot of features in vans that are starting to separate it from SUVs and giving us consumers reasons to purchase a van now than an SUV. Those two companies, of course, are Toyota and Honda. Toyota with its very famous Sienna, and Honda with its very famous Odyssey. Now, if I had to choose one of the two, I'd choose the Honda Odyssey. And the reason for it is I will leave a link for Doug Demuro's video on YouTube explaining the 2018 Honda Elite, which is phenomenal in every single way. And I really, really enjoy that video. Again, there's a link in the description. Go check it out. It's a phenomenal video. And it really shows you the value of vans today. But, you know, Honda has started to develop a lot of characteristics in its vans that put it way, way, way above the Pilot when it comes to hauling around a family, right? And you can tell with Honda's new Pilot that they're really looking out for family, and they're really taking this seriously. And as we're talking, there's a Honda Odyssey right there. So the 2018 Honda Odyssey comes with a lot of features that make it so distinguishable now from its Pilot, from the Pilot and from other vans. And I want to kind of get into them, just a few of them, because I think they're really cool. So Honda has this now, this feature called Cabin Watch inside of their car. So first of all, you have a big infotainment screen in the front of your car. And back in the day, you know, when you were messing around with your brothers and sisters back there, you know, your mom would have to turn around and start yelling at you. And that's obviously dangerous. You're taking your eyes off the road. If you're a kid anything like me, you're pretty bad to your siblings. You like to torture them quite a bit. And, you know, the result of that is a lot of yellings and spankings. And some of those had to happen within the car. At least my parents deemed. And it's unsafe for everyone in the car. It really is. So Honda has this thing again called Cabin Watch, where it's got a bird's eye view inside the cabin. So you can see a 360 degree of your entire passengers in the back of your car on the screen here. And you can zoom in and move around and take a look at everyone from your screen so that you don't have to turn back. How cool is that? On top of that, Honda's also developed another accessory that kind of goes hand in hand with Cabin Watch, and that is a surround system microphone. So again, back in the day, you know, when your mom had to look at you and yell at you and give you the stare, again, not so safe. So what Honda's done is they have a button on the steering wheel that you press, and it's a microphone, and it shuts down all of the speakers inside of the van, and then you as the parent can yell at the steering wheel, and it'll be transmitted across the entire van throughout all of its speakers. So you don't have to look back and yell at your kids. You can just yell at the steering wheel, take it out on Honda, and your kids will get the point back there. So again, really cool feature. But the feature to me that really sets the Honda Odyssey apart and really, really pushes this new envelope of reviving the van market is they have a built-in vacuum cleaner. That is genius. You know, having a built-in vacuum cleaner really shows you that Honda engineers are thinking about a van as a family vehicle. You know, I just mentioned throughout the entire video about how vans were just no different than SUVs. They didn't really have any distinctive features, apart from a bit more legroom and things like that. But, you know, now with a vacuum cleaner, you really, and these other options that I'm talking to you about, and trust me, there's more. You know, having a vacuum cleaner, you know, is so important in a van, you know, because vans see movie theaters, which means popcorn, they see candy, they see McDonald's drive-thrus, Wendy's drive-thrus. They see so much food, they see so much mess, and the carpets go through hell. And, you know, instead of lugging out your vacuum cleaner and getting an extension cord and going throughout the vehicle with that, you know, they've given you a vacuum cleaner inside of the van. And that's just so brilliant. And that's, again, just another distinctive feature that puts the Honda Odyssey van. It makes in its own class, and it makes it distinctive from any SUV that Honda or any other company has to offer. Now, I know Toyota's a little bit lagging on this, and I'm sure they'll respond to compete against the Odyssey, because they as well are, again, moving into reviving the van market. And I will say this, I do think Toyota's done a great job in making their vans look a lot sportier. Honda Sienna, or Toyota Siennas, excuse me, you can get now with like really low profile side skirts, rear bumpers, front grills. I mean, they've really like upped their game with that. So they've really started offering sports packages, I guess, on their Siennas for people who are in denial of buying a van or something. So again, really good feature by them, and I think, I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see what Honda and Toyota are going to continue to do, and what they're going to continue to bring for this van market. And I'm hoping to see that vans will be revived. So many car companies have been dipping out of the van market. Some of them aren't really trying that hard, like Chrysler, but then again, they've never really tried that hard to begin with. And, seeing these Japanese companies really come up with so many distinctive features, it's going to give people a reason now to buy vans. If you ask me, I'm, as an economist lover myself, I would recommend you buy a van if you're interested in it, if you actually find value in it. It's when you buy a van, right now, because the market is so beat up, sure, vans might be more expensive than most big SUVs, but they don't have any inflation due to high demand in the price of them. So, a lot of cars, when they start to become popular, dealerships can get away with charging higher prices for it. And, that's why the SUV market is so expensive, right? It's because everyone wants an SUV. Just on the highway, everyone's got an SUV. And, when you go and pay your $30,000, $35,000, there's probably $5,000 of it just markup due to high demand. Now, in the van market, because it's so beat up and because it's so unpopular right now, the price you pay is actually the price worth of the materials that's in there. There's not really a popularity inflation price in there, because it's not really that popular. So you really get what you pay for when you go and buy a van opposed to an SUV. So, if you can forget the stigma that's attached with vans, if you can forget the negative connotations, I'd highly recommend it. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is my first kind of car vlog, and I promise you things will only get better from here, quality-wise and speaking-wise and topic-wise as well. If you have any comments, questions, and you want to participate in this, leave a comment below. Tell me what you think about the van market, why it's been in such a roller coaster of a market, and do you think that vans will catch back on now with Honda and Toyota really pushing the envelope to get the van market rebooted? I certainly think so. I do want to say I have started my own website. Link is in the description below. It's called anthonysgarage.blog. And it actually has nothing to do with cars. It's actually a motivational / lifestyle type of blog where I just, when I'm doing my road trips, I just come up with ideas and I just go back at home and write them down. And, I talk about anything from intent, what intent means. Does your job reward you or compensate you for your time? Just things like that. Just go check it out, see what you think about it. I'll be uploading there quite frequently. So, thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'll see you guys next time.